Welcome back. We can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is going to be the last video for our chats, and then we will have all of the core features fully built in our application. Firstly, I just want to jump into the chats view, and I want to add some quick timestamps to when these messages come through. Because right now, we can't really tell if it was today, if it was yesterday. Is this an active chat? Let's jump into our chat view, and let's pull up the canvas, and let's look at our mock chats real quick. We have this loop, and then for each chat message, we have our chat bubble. Let's get our working chat preview on the screen. And let's put in the timestamps for all of these chats here. All right, I'll put a link below. I literally Googled SwiftUI date formats, and somebody wrote a Medium article. There's a bunch of new ways that we can put dates in a text in SwiftUI. And so we're just going to take a couple of these and put the dates on the screen. So I want this to say the date. Let's do October 7th, 2023. So I'll take this one, paste it here. And I also want to do the time. So let's do maybe this time here, 6:53 p.m. I'll put that here. And let's go ahead and concatenate these. So rather than having them in a stack, let's add them together. I'll make this a group so that we can format it together as well. On the group, I'll give it a foreground style of .secondary. Let's also give it a font of callout. Looking good. Let's put a little space between them. So I will append another text in between these that just has a space, and then I'll do Control Command Spacebar to bring up the emojis. And let's search for the bullet. So I'll just put a bullet and then another space after the bullet as well. Let's reload the canvas to get the listener to attach. I don't know why it does that. Maybe we need to fix our mocks. Cool. All right, October 19th, 2024, 8:41 p.m. It's exactly what we wanted. That is right now, but we want to put the message date on there. So let's do the message.date created calculated. And I'll do that for both of these. And then let's extract this to a function. So I'll come down here, and let's put it down here, private func. Let's call this timestamp view. We'll pass in a date of type date and return some view. And then I'll make this the date that goes here. Now let's put our timestamp view on the screen, timestamp view. We'll pass in our message.date created calculated. All right, now we have the timestamp on every single chat, and I really want to do it just only if there's been maybe more than a half hour between the messages. Then we put the timestamp because we don't need it between every single chat. Let's come down here and let's create a private func, and let's say chat is delayed and return a Boolean. Sorry, let's call this message. Let's pass in a message of type chat message model. Firstly, let's get the date. So we'll say let date equals message.date created calculated. Let's get the index of this message in the entire array. We'll say guard let index equals messages, chat messages, dot first index, and let's look for where the ID is equal to the message.id. And then let's check if there is a message before this one. So then we'll also confirm that chat messages dot indices contains the index -1. So we want to make sure there's an item before the current chat message. Else, let's just return false. So our default will be the message is not delayed. Put these on multiple lines. All right, so then if there is a chat message before it, we'll say let previous message date equals. Let's access the chat messages at the index of index -1. And then we'll access the date created calculated from the previous message. We'll say let time diff is the difference between the message.date created, so let's say the current message date, the current message date dot time interval since the previous message date. This is a time interval, so let's create here a let threshold of type, and I'll make it also time interval. I'll set it equal to 60 times 45. So the threshold is going to be 60 seconds times 45 minutes. So if there's been at least 45 minutes between these two dates, then we'll return true. So if time diff is greater than threshold, return true, and then we will return false. Another way of writing this, we can just return the time diff being greater than the threshold. All right, now let's come back up to our code and we'll say if message is delayed, pass in the message, then we'll write the timestamp on the screen. If we rerun this, at least one of these timestamps should have disappeared. Let's reload this real quick, and I think this will work. All right, so we only have 2 dates now, right? The date here, which is between, I guess, this day and this day, but there's no message between these two because these are probably within a couple minutes of each other. Let's wrap up this video. There's one more feature I want to talk about, and it is back on the chat screen. So when we created these cells, we added a Boolean for a little is new toggle here. And obviously right now we don't have any new messages in any of these chats. So if we jump back to the chats view, we have our chat row cell view builder. And in our chat row cell view builder, we said has new chat, and we created a Boolean for whether or not it has a new chat. And the Boolean is the has been seen by user ID. So here we have an array of seen by IDs. When we see a chat, let's make sure that we add the user ID into the seen by ID. Let's go to our chat service. We'll start with the Firebase. In terms of add chat message, let's also mark chat message as seen by user ID of type string, async throws, open the brackets. We're going to have to go to the try messages collection, and we're going to need a chat ID of type string. Then we're going to have to go to the document within that collection. So we need to pass in a message ID of type string. Then we're going to update that document. And we will call coding key. We'll call here, that document is a chat message model, coding keys. We'll dot seen by IDs, raw value. And we'll add the field value dot array union. So we'll add to whatever is in the existing array. We'll add in the user ID. Try await. Let's copy this, make it part of our chat service. So I will put it after add chat message. Let's go to the mock chat service. We'll just add in a function here that doesn't do anything. Let's go to the chat manager. We'll add in a function here as well. Try await, service, mark chat as seen, chat ID, message ID, user ID. Let's go to the chat view. When the user actually sees these messages, so on each of the cells, so let's find our cells, chat bubble view builder. Let's create a private func and we'll say appear. And when these appear, we'll pass in a message of type chat message model. So when these appear on the screen, on appear, let's go ahead and call on message did appear with the message. So now in here, we can add a little logic. So firstly, let's do a task and we'll do a do and a catch. Let's get the current user ID, let UID equals try auth manager dot get auth ID. And then let's make sure that this message is not already marked seen by this user. Because if it's already updated as marked in the database, then we don't need to write it again. So we'll say guard message dot has been seen by UID, else return. And we're going to make sure that it has not been seen by the user yet. And if it has not, let's go ahead and try await chat manager mark, and let's pass in the, let's say let chat ID equals get chat ID. So now we can pass in the chat ID, the message.id, and the user ID. Here we can just print failed to mark message as seen. And let's go ahead and build and run this. I will open up our database quick. Let's go into one of these chats. So here I have a bunch of messages. This chat is with, let's see who this one is with. This chat is with 08B, which I think is Joseph. So when we have these messages, this message is not yet seen by my current user. Let's jump in here and talk to Joseph. And then once this is seen, it's now marked as seen. Great. And it looks like we have a bug in our app. Let's actually, Joseph, we just saw these messages. So now it should be not new. And so let's jump into our chat row view builder. And the Boolean for has new chat should be the result of if it has not been seen by the user. We need the not syntax in here. Let's go ahead and build this. So now this is working. We have a bunch of chats where we haven't marked them as complete. Let's just click into these and we should be able to get these to go away. At least our Boolean is working here, which is cool. All right, now we fixed that bug and we know that the Boolean is actually working because we saw the tag showing up just a minute ago. Later in this course, we might add some logic to actually add some fake chats in here so we can get that Boolean coming back. But for right now, I know that it works. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that feature. So let's go ahead and call that a wrap. And I think we've built a really cool app so far. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this course. So far, we have basically only built the core app. We spent a lot of time on the UI, and then we spent a lot of time on the data layers. I think both were really good learning experiences. And now we're going to move into the next module of the course. And it is basically preparing our app now to actually get into the App Store. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that will improve our app, but also improve our chances of making this app a success when we go ahead and launch. Thank you all for watching. As always, my name is Nick. This is Swiftful Thinking, and I'll see you in the next section.